Well, joining us now, a very special guest, Alex Gandler, Deputy Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. Mr. Gandler, thank you very much for speaking to us. Can you confirm that Israel has struck Damascus Airport and Aleppo Airport with airstrikes in the last little while?
Allow me not to confirm or deny any such knowledge. I'm based on information such as you. I'm reading the news as well, and I saw that there might have been a strike on Syrian ground.
Have there been attacks from Syria onto Israeli territory in the last couple of days?
I'm not aware of any attacks coming from Syria. I am aware of engagements coming from a closer border in Lebanon, engagements between IDF soldiers and Hezbollah terrorists from across the border. Obviously, Hezbollah is not a state-sponsored war. I'm sorry, it's not a Lebanese official army. We're talking about terrorists that are sponsored as a proxy army by Iran.
As we understand it, Mr. Gandler, the Iranian foreign minister was on his way to Damascus in his aircraft. Shortly before he was to arrive, Damascus airport was bombed. He's had to go back. Again, I realize it may be difficult for you, but do you have any reaction to this event?
I will tell you that we are not interested in seeing any other countries getting involved, especially countries that have sponsored, trained, supplied, and mobilized the terrorist organization Hamas that attacked Israel on the morning of October 7th.
Is it your belief that weaponry bound for Hamas was being routed through Syria by Iran?
I will not elaborate on any intelligence regarding weapons that came through Syria. I can tell you that weapons have been coming into the Gaza Strip, and it's quite obvious to see which kind of weapons they are. And we know that these weapons are not Western weapons that the state of Israel is using. So it's quite easy to understand where these weapons are coming from.
So could you state directly, sir, you believe that there is an overt Iranian hand in terms of the arming of Hamas, something which has resulted in the attack this time around?
I don't want to quote anyone, especially not media outlets at the moment. I'm basing myself out of intelligence reports that we're receiving. I don't want to divulge any sensitive information that is currently will harm my country and its state of war. I will say this: we're currently fighting a war. You're used to seeing Israel having these limited operations against the Hamas terrorist organization within Gaza. This is something different, completely. There is a reason why this is exclusive and this is breaking news, because it is something that is different from any other time. This is a war against Hamas. We're fighting a war for the defense of our people. We've all seen the 12,000 confirmed dead Israeli civilians on the border. Hamas coming into homes of civilians that were trying to shed themselves and their children in safe rooms, burning those homes down. Unfortunately, in the last several days, I was privy to videos that were taken from Gaza. In Israel, we had a decision about 20 years ago to decide not to show the public any horrifying images from those days where suicide bombers used to blow themselves up in Israeli buses. We're rethinking that thought right now. I've seen some of the images coming out of what happened in our kibbutzes, our small towns across the border from Gaza, and they're horrifying. They're just horrifying to watch.
No, absolutely. I was speaking to a kibbutz leader earlier on today, sir. And, those are absolutely horrific situations. But I'm just trying to understand, what is the overall Israeli death toll at this juncture? Is it 1,200? Is that what you are looking at this stage?
Yes, absolutely. Confirmed. We have 1,200. I can say that around 800 have been identified. The fact that we need to identify bodies tells you the story of what happened.
Yes. There is also a humanitarian crisis being played out in Gaza at this juncture. Would it be fair for me to say that the restoration of food, water, electricity might happen if the hostages being held in the Gaza Strip are returned?
I can't set any terms right now for what will happen with the Gaza Strip if any hostages are returned. First of all, we want all our hostages returned. We have around, and it's an estimated number because not everyone has been accounted for. Some of them are still unaccounted for because they're presumed either as a hostage or someone who was killed in the attack. Around 130 people. That is the estimation at the moment. The humanitarian toll on the Gaza Strip is terrible. Of course, I don't think anyone can deny that things that are happening in the Gaza Strip can be better. The problem is that we're fighting an enemy that is using the civilian population in order to hide themselves. I've looked at some of that intelligence information that I was divulged to. And I looked at where the houses of the terrorists are, or where their command posts are, or MO depots are. If you'll go back 3 days and you look at when a mosque was bombed several days ago, you will see that the mosque has secondary explosions. Secondary explosions happen when you have ammo and weapons stored underneath. The gloves are pretty much off for the Israeli Air Force and the Israeli Defense Forces. We're currently in an operation, as I said, a war in order to destroy Hamas as a terrorist organization. We've had too many years of Hamas on our doorstep, shooting volleys of rockets towards our citizens. We are done. We are done, and the gloves are completely off.
Mr. Gandler, I'm just trying to understand, when we talk about a potential Israeli ground offensive, are we looking at a ground offensive towards an occupation of the Gaza Strip, or are we looking at an entry of Israeli ground soldiers in an effort at attacking Hamas?
I'm not privy to any information regarding the scope of a ground attack or how a ground attack might occur, or the tactical or strategical goals of that ground attack. And even if I was, to be honest, to tell it on live TV would be very unprofessional of me regarding the lives of our soldiers on the ground. So if there will be a ground attack, you
I appreciate that.
Scenarios. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. No, I appreciate that. In terms of what you were talking to me a few moments back about how there have been secondary explosions underground, perhaps in the areas which you have struck, there have also been several reports of how there is an extensive subterranean network which exists in Gaza, where perhaps a lot of the rockets and other weaponry that we've been looking at have been assembled. Is this an Israeli concern, that what you see being bombed on top is not necessarily where a lot of this is being assembled or hidden or being operated from?
Yes, absolutely. For years and years, one of the problems, I've read an analysis regarding the Hamas power grid. The Hamas power grid, which was damaged in 2014, could have been fixed by this time. The problem was that all the funds that were given to Hamas and to the Gaza Strip, or most of the funds, were misused in order to build an underground city filled with command centers, operational rooms, barracks, weapons storage facilities underneath the entirety of the Gaza Strip. We're talking about miles and miles of tunnels. Some of those tunnels are defensive tunnels where you hide and you operate your soldiers. Some of them are attacking tunnels that are dug towards the fence surrounding the Gaza Strip, our security fence in the border. Some of them were actually dug underneath the kibbutzes. In an operation that was held several years ago, we've destroyed those tunnels. But now this underground city of Hamas remains under the Gaza Strip. It was completely funded by all the donations given to Hamas. Some of them were given for humanitarian causes and misused in order to build this humongous infrastructure. It is easier to dig under the Gaza Strip because if you know the topography of that part of the world, the Gaza Strip is located right next to a beach. So a lot of the infrastructure is dug through sand or sandy areas, which makes it easier to dig by hand without the use of earth movers, such as things that you do in other countries to build railroads or subway systems. And they've done it. They've built another city under the Gaza Strip, and they're using it in order to maintain their terrorist cells and terrorist capabilities.
Sure. Oh, just one or two more questions, sir. There are Indian nationals in Israel. We are, of course, extremely close partners with your country who are now in the process of evacuating. The first flight is going to be flying them out later on today. What is your message to those Indians who actually are leaving Israel at this stage? It's a moment of great sadness for them as well. They've come to enjoy, love Israel, study there, work there, everything. What is your message to those who from India who are now having to leave Israel?
And it's a very sad day to hear that, to be honest, because I have a great connection to the Indian people. I visited India. It was my wife's birthday present to me for my 30th birthday. A lot of Israelis have deep connections to India and to the Indian people, and so do Indian people to Israel. They're leaving for a limited time. They will come back. Israelis will come back to visit India. Those Israelis that are now flying to Israel to join their army units. And Indians that have lived here and worked here and studied here and enjoyed their life here will come back to visit us again. This will end at some point. Israel is a strong and vibrant country. We enjoy a very good relationship with the country of India. This is a moment. This is a moment, but it's a fleeting moment in time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Gandler, very much for speaking to us, being as forthright as possible under the circumstances. Do take care of yourself and your family at this very difficult time. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the people of India.